Hello, everybody. What's up? How are you? Okay, this is our fourth lesson of this week, and we will continue where we left off. Okay, we were talking about Central Anatolia, and now I would like to talk about Alacahöyük. Okay, Alacahöyük is 36 kilometers north of Boğazkale and 52 kilometers south of Çorum. The site is very, very old, but the excavation area is small, and most of the movable monuments are now in Ankara's Museum of Anatolian Civilizations. Anadolu Medeniyetleri Müzesi'nde pek çok şey. So it's really only worth the effort if you have got some spare time after visiting Hattuşa. Okay, but if you have the time, visit it, and the museum is beside the ruins, displaying artists' impressions of the site at various points in its history, as well as finds that date back to the Chalcolithic and Old Bronze ages. At the ruins, the monumental gate has two eyeless sphinxes guarding the door. The detailed reliefs, not the originals, the copies, the originals are again in Ankara. These reliefs show musicians, a sword swallower, animals for sacrifice, and the Hittite king and queen, all part of festivities and ceremonies dedicated to Teshub, which is a deity god, shown here as a bull figurine. Okay, once through the gate, the main excavations on the right-hand side are of a Hittite palace temple complex, and to the left, protected under plastic covers, are the pre-Hittite royal shaft graves. Dating from 23,000 to 21,000 BC, each skeleton was buried individually, along with a variety of personal belongings and several oxen skulls, which archaeologists presume to be the leftovers of a funeral meal. And on the far left of the back of the site is an underground tunnel. You can walk through it and look down at the fields to see how the site was built up over the millennia. Okay, and near this place is Çorum, and Çorum is a prosperous provincial capital, resting on its modest fame as the chickpea capital of Turkey. Chickpea means leblebi, Türkiye'nin leblebi başkenti. Evet, the town is full of leblebiciler, which means chickpea roasters and sellers. And there are sacks upon sacks of chickpeas, sorted according to fine distinctions, okay? You can buy many different sorts of chickpeas in Çorum. There is also Çorum Museum, and it's an excellent preparation if you plan to go to Hattuşa and the other Hittite sites to the southwest. And also the busy and bustling town center of it offers you some glimpses of provincial Turkish life. Let's talk about Çorum Museum. Well, you may have seen many small town museums, but Çorum's version is worth visiting because it's a very excellent museum. Actually one of the best in central Turkey, and it uses impressive exhibits, computer graphics, and films to display about Anatolian history from the Bronze Age to the Roman period, with a major focus on Hittite history. The centerpiece of this museum is a reconstruction of the royal tomb at Alacahöyük, with bull skulls and a crumpled skeleton clad in a crown. And there are also some incredible artifacts, such as a Hittite ceremonial jug and a good collection of Hittite tablets. Okay, next door, and included in the entrance fee is a little less impressive ethnographic museum. This museum is very close to the Otogar. Okay, and now I would like to talk about a little bit about Amasya, Şehzadeler şehri olarak bilinir, known as Şehzadeler şehri. It has two shores. There is a Yeşilırmak River here, and on the north of the Yeşilırmak River, there are rows of half-timbered Osmanlı houses, and on the south south of the river, the newer, more modern Turkey tries to get on with things in an outward-looking ode to the succession of empires. Well, towering above the minarets and the madrasas, madrasa means seminary, by the way, are pockmarks of Pontic tombs etched into the high-rise bluff. Okay, Amasya's setting may evoke high drama, and in local folklore, there are tunnels here dug by Ferhat, a tragic star-crossed figure who was in love with Shirin, the sister of a sultan queen. Okay, let's talk about Amasya's history. Okay, called Hakmış by the Hittites, the Amasya area has been inhabited continuously since around 55,000 BC. It's a very, very long time ago. Wow. And enter Alexander the Great again. Alexander the Great conquered Amasya too. What a surprise, right? In the 4th century BC. And then it became the capital of a successor kingdom ruled by a family of Persian satraps. Satraps means provincial governor. Okay? By the time of King Mithridates II, the kingdom of Pontus entered the Golden Age and dominated a large part of Anatolia from its Amasya headquarters. Okay, and Amasya also was the birthplace of Strabo, who was the world's first geographer. He was born in 63 BC in Amasya. Okay, Amasya's golden age continued under the Romans, who named it a first city and used it as an administrative center for rulers such as Pompey. It was Julius Caesar's conquest of a local town that prompted his immortal words, Veni, Vidi, Vici. Geldim, gördüm, yendim. I came, I saw, I conquered. After the Romans came the Byzantines, the Danishmend Turks, the Seljuks, the Mongols, and the National Republic of Abazistan. In Ottoman times, Amasya was an important military base and testing ground for the Sultan's heir, the princess, Şehzadeler. It also became a center of Islamic study, with as many as 18 madrasas and 2,000 theological students by the 19th century. After the First World War, Atatürk met his supporters here and hammered out the basic principles of the Turkish struggle for independence, which were published in the Amasya Genelgesi, in other words, Amasya Circular. Okay. Well, as I said, there is a Yeşilırmak River here, and there is the north side of it and south side of it. And on the north side of the river, there are tombs of the Pontic kings. And there are tombs of the Pontic kings here, and these tombs cut deep into the limestone as early as the 4th century BC, and they were used for cult worship of their rulers. There are more than 20 tombs in the valley, which are now empty, by the way, and they are at their most striking when viewed from southern riverbank. Evet, güneyden bakınca daha güzel oluyormuş yani. Okay. There are many places to visit in Amasya, and one of them is Hatuniye Mahallesi, Hatuniye neighborhood. Okay. Hatuniye neighborhood is Amasya's wonderful neighborhood of restored Ottoman houses. One of them is the Hazeranlar Konağı, Hazeranlar Mansion. It was constructed in 1865 and restored in 1979. And it was built by Hasan Talat, who was the accountant of Governor and poet Ziya Pasha. Hasan Talat made it built for his sister, Hazeran Hanım. The restored rooms are beautifully furnished in that period style, with a refined feel to their chandeliers and carved wood. And also, the Directorate of Fine Arts Gallery in the basement has changing exhibitions. You can visit the exhibitions also. And close to this place, there is Harshana Castle. It is perched atop rocky Mount Harshana, and this castle offers magnificent view down the valley. The remnants of the walls date from Pontic times, perhaps around King Mithridates' reign, but a fort stood here from the early Bronze Age. It was destroyed and repaired over and over by several empires, and it had 8 defensive layers, descending 300 meters to the Yeşilırmak River, and a tunnel with 150 steps cut into the mountain. Yes. Okay. And also I would like to say a few words about Büyük Ağa Medresesi. It's an impressive medrese and has an octagonal layout, which is rarely seen in Ottoman medrese architecture. It was built by the Sultan Bayezid II's chief white eunuch, Hüseyin Ağa. And it still serves as a seminary for boys who are training to be hafiz. In English, hafiz means theologian who has memorized the entire Quran. Okay. Well, when we go to the south of the river, there is Amasya Museum. It's a wonderful museum. Packs in beautifully laid out treasures from the Bronze Age, Hittite, Pontic, and Roman eras. And you should look out for the famous statuette of Amasya, a bronze figure of the Hittite storm god Teshub. And the highlight of this museum is the collection of mummies dating from the 14th century Ilkhan period. The bodies, which were mummified without removing the organs, were discovered beneath the Burmalı Minare Mosque. And as you can guess, they may not be very suitable for very young eyes. And also, there is also a wealth of manuscripts, Ottoman artifacts, an armory of flintlock guns, and the original wooden doors from Amasyas Gök Medrese Cami, Gök Medrese Mosque. All the displays have detailed information panels in English. Also, there is one more place I would like to talk about. It's an important one. It's the Sabuncuoğlu History of Medicine Museum. This place was built as a mental hospital in 1309 by İlduş Hatun, wife of the Ilkhanate Sultan Olcaytu. And this place may have been the first place in history to try to treat psychiatric disorders with music. It was used as a hospital until the 18th century. And one of the most important physicians who worked here was Şerafettin Sabuncuoğlu. And today, this hospital is a museum to his work and includes surgical equipment and some fascinating illustrations of treatment. Okay. Our lessons for today, our fourth lesson is finished, and I will see you in our fifth video, fifth lesson, and it will be the last lesson of our 9th week. Okay, I'll see you. Bye. Take care.